So this easily influenced was by request. Feather asked if I would take a look at Jazza's bag. This was available on Kickstarter in January, I think, of 2023. It might have been earlier than that. I think I received mine in January of 2023. And, you know, being the easily influenced person on the internet, I said, sure, I'll take a look at it and give it a shot. So this was purchased out of pocket with my own funds. This review is meant to help consumers decide if this is a product that is a good fit for their needs. And this is as fair and unbiased a review as I can possibly do, with both of us being artists on YouTube. So I hope you guys find this helpful, useful, and informative, and I look forward to sharing Jazza's smaller art bag with you guys. The funds for Jazza's Carry-all Studio were raised using Kickstarter. If you're not familiar with Kickstarter, and that's a little bit surprising at this point, it's pretty ubiquitous, but it is a fundraising platform where you basically pitch your project, you create prototypes and presentational materials, you explain why your project or your product is different or unusual or fills a specific need. You include videos demonstrating and selling the project, and then people put money towards the production of the project itself. So generally, but not always, Kickstarters are used to actually fund the creation of the project rather than overtly purchasing the project itself. And what this means is that it may take a while between when you pledge on Kickstarter and when you actually receive your product. And that's a known thing. That's an expected thing. That's not a bad thing. I'm just pointing this out. It's not like ordering from Etsy or from a shop and you expect to receive the product in like a month's time at the most. With Kickstarter, it can take a lot longer. Also with Kickstarter, sometimes if you don't hit certain goals, they're not able to offer certain options. Like in this scroll here of the Kickstarter page itself, it mentions wanting different colorways available for customers, but if we don't hit certain funding goals, it won't be possible. So when it comes to Kickstarter projects, sometimes what is pitched is a little bit different from the reality. Sometimes it's a lot better, sometimes it's not as good, and you just have to be kind of flexible about that. But I wanted to share what the Kickstarter actually looked like because for this Easily Influenced series, I think this is the first in this series where it was a Kickstarter project. That doesn't mean it's the first Kickstarter I've ever backed. I'm actually very familiar with Kickstarter, but I wanted to share this just for completionist sake and so that you could understand it. I also want to point out that Jazza far exceeded his initial fundraising goal by he wanted like 150,000 approximately, and he raised about 450,000 approximately. He far exceeded his goal. Now that doesn't mean he keeps all those profits. You know, the cost of manufacturing and delivering these bags, the cost of Kickstarter takes a chunk, and your manufacturer is going to take a chunk, and you have to do samples and prototyping. He's probably not going to see a significant profit on this just because that's how Kickstarter works. But I did want to point out that there is significant demand for these bags, and that implies that there is a gap in the market that Jazza is either filling or promising to fill. And that's going to be a point that I really talk about a lot in this Easily Influenced review. I also want to point out that I spent about $99 on this bag, so it was fairly expensive for what it is, and we're going to talk about that as well. I'm also going to share just a couple of the milestone emails that were sent out, just to give you guys kind of an idea of the process, just in case you've never backed a Kickstarter before, and also to kind of explain how the time frames work. So it took a while for them to send out the surveys to find out what colorway we would want if we did actually reach that goal. And then there's a follow-up update about the colorways that are available and the one that didn't quite make the cut. So this is what I mean by like some of the things that are discussed in the Kickstarter. If you don't reach a funding goal, that might not be a reality. The shipping of this project was also fulfilled by Muse Kits. So we have here the Jazza Carry-all bag that I backed on Kickstarter a while back. This was fulfilled by Muse Kits, and it arrived a while back, and it's just been kind of waiting around for me. I have not really had a chance to get to it, but I'm about to leave for vacation. We're going out into the mountains, and I want to do some painting, and I thought this would be a perfect time to unbox it and give it a try for you. I also have to admit, this is actually take 2, so it's not quite as blind a react as I would like it to be because the recording failed. So hopefully I fixed some things, and hopefully we are ready to record. It arrived in this cardboard box. I think the cardboard box was in better shape when it arrived. It's been sitting under some books, so it did get kind of depressed. It was held shut with tape, and inside is a cellophane bag with one of those non-woven fabric bags inside to protect our Carry-all Lite. Now, there are 2 versions of this bag, as you guys will remember, the larger messenger style bag and the smaller satchel bag. I paid $89 for this, and Jazza makes a lot of really bold claims that honestly, this might be true in Australia, but might not be true in the US. So take what I say with a grain of salt as an American. I'm also going to be looking at this through the lens of someone who primarily does comics and paints watercolor and does inked art. So not bringing my markers with me this time. So inside the non-woven fabric is our little satchel here. I thought I had ordered the indigo or the gray, but I know that they couldn't do all 4 colorways. That was just a little too expensive. So I received the Pthalo Turquoise instead. And I think this is a beautiful color. It actually matches a purse that I have and I carry often, so that's not really an issue. It came with this hang tag that reads Jazza. This is pleather. This is also pleather. And this has kind of a soft finish on the other side. At the back, we have 4 loops where we can attach straps. We can do it purse style. We can do it messenger style. We can do it backpack style. I do like options. We also have a pocket. The exterior seems to be a rough canvas, or I should say a sturdy canvas. Inside it is lined with nylon. The nylon feels very cheap though. I'm also going to point out that I actually have several of these kind of travel style bags. I have tried a bunch of them and not liked some of them. I have a Timbuktu bag that I'm looking at right now that you guys have seen me use before. I like that bag a lot. It seems to be made better quality. So it kind of makes me wonder what gap in the market Jazza is trying to fill with this. I know he's in his promotional material on Kickstarter. He's kind of acting like nobody's doing this, but I am also looking at the Etchr slate that I was going to bring with me when I traveled. So maybe this is meant to be more of like a marker artist bag than it is a general art studio bag. Inside our top flap, give me a sec. So top flap, magnetic closure. These did have little plastic pieces of protection when I first did this to prevent scratches. And it is a zipper top with 2 zippers. On the side are 2 pouches that are actually honestly kind of small. Like they won't even hold a bottle of water, which as a watercolorist, that's not real great, but maybe I wouldn't even put my brushes in an exterior pocket like this. Inside, we have our removable straps, and
And that's about it. We have a silica packet, and we have not multiple pockets, which would have been nice. We have one interior pocket that's fairly small for your wallet, your phone, maybe even your keys, maybe not even your keys. The hardware on this is a gunmetal gray, and I don't love the quality of the interior nylon. It feels kind of cheap to me. So we have one more pocket to explore. That is, all right. So this is actually our marker pocket, and it's okay. So first of all, other people make marker wallets. Other people make marker wallet inserts. I'll insert some footage of that for you guys. Jazza is absolutely not the first. I have a bunch of friends who are convention artists who bring their markers with them, and they have found various different solutions that work well for them. This looks cheap. It feels cheap. We only get one, and that's kind of whatever. And otherwise, this is just a plain pocket. So as somebody who has purchased many of these kind of bags, and I am admittedly kind of challenging to please with this kind of thing, and I might be looking for a unicorn. I've had a Victorinox bag that I brought with me the first time I went to Japan, and the second time I went to Japan. I had a Lite scissor bag that I actually really liked. The second time I went to Japan, I picked that up, and it was great and very compact, and I talked about that a few years ago, but I've kind of outgrown that. I need more space. So I have a Timbuktu bag that I like, but it tends to dump everything. I have the Etchr Slate, which I want to like, but it's just not modular enough. So I bought the Jazza bag actually because many of my viewers requested that I do an easily influenced on Jazza. I will admit, I don't really watch his content. I have not really watched his content since like 2017 when I was just getting kind of my feet on YouTube. The way his videos are just not for me. So this is one of the easily influences where I have to say I'm not really a fan, but it was a fan request. A lot of you guys said you were buying this bag. A lot of y'all were really excited about this bag, and a lot of you guys wanted to see if this bag was worth it. I realize for some people $89 is not a lot of money. For some people $89 is a lot of money. Most of the bags that I have bought, I found them at like TJ Maxx, or I bought them when they were on sale from different sporting goods stores, with the exception of the Etchr Slate, which I bought at my local brick and mortar and I talked about here. And frankly, I've never used the Etchr Slate because it wasn't as useful as it got kind of sold to me. You guys can see why I do an easily influenced series, right? I am easy to influence. But I did this one because several of my patrons were interested in this bag, and I was like, okay, you know, we gotta listen to the people who pay the bills. So these are the two shoulder straps. They are somewhat padded. I do appreciate that there's actually two. They are adjustable. They can clip here. They can clip here or here for a crossbody, or you can do them backpack style. I actually really do like that because one of my problems with the Timbuktu bag is that it's a sling style bag, and it tends to sling as I'm sitting down, as I'm leaning over, and it will hit things. It'll get in the way. It's just really cumbersome. This seems like I can at least strap it across my back. So I enjoy that. I appreciate that. I have some earlier footage from the Kickstarter, so we're not going to go to the desktop, but the Carry-all Studio Bags for Creators project, and I'm going to link that for you guys. 2,662 people backed it, and they pledged $736,026 to help bring it to life. While that is a tremendous amount of money, when you're actually mass producing something like this that has to be made in another country and it has to be prototyped, and you're going to have different variants of it, whether it's color variants or even size variants, and you're going to have different options, that eats up a lot of money. So I watch a lot of tech Kickstarter videos where people explain how the project went wrong, and I know that something that's kind of ambitious has a higher chance of failing. It's one of the reasons that comic projects tend to succeed, because a comic is a straightforward thing that is marginally easier to produce, in that the comic artist has probably already produced the comic before they're kickstarting it. So the majority of the work was already done. With something like a bag, there's so many other people involved that it can be really hard to do it right. I say this, and I already don't like this bag, and I already feel like I got kind of oversold on it, and I kind of feel like I overpaid on it. So I was expecting more. I was expecting higher quality on the accessories. I do like the canvas exterior. The pleather doesn't really bother me. It is double stitched. I like that. The findings, the hardware seem nice, but the interior lining is a cheap nylon, and I don't have a problem with nylon. In fact, most of my travel bags are nylon bags, or they are coated with like a plasticized coating. That's not my problem. It's that this is a cheaper nylon that once it rips, it's going to rip and fray and look terrible. So I have the Carry-all Lite, and both the Lite and the larger version, the XL version, will have a top carrying handle. I do like this. Removable backpack straps, removable shoulder straps. In this version, those are the same thing. They are the same kind of strap, and you just get 2 of them. A removable marker carrier. I would not call this a carrier. I would call it a sleeve or an insert that you might find in a marker wallet or a marker bag. This also has according to them, a rear access pocket with water resistant lining, hence the cheap nylon, main storage pocket with water resistant lining, including extra zipped compartment inside. I would not call that an extra, because most of these kind of bags have multiple pockets on the inside and often have a key holder, and fits and zips a large iPad Pro or a small laptop. Does anybody have a laptop this small anymore? This is like a triple E PC. The medium zipped pocket, so that's this for quick grab items like headphones, charging bricks, pens, art supplies, etc. With that marker wallet in there, that already takes up pretty much all the space. So you're really going to put like a chapstick and not much else. And then they also say 2 elastic trim pockets for pins, tools, or trinkets. I would not. Okay, so they're too deep for trinkets. I don't know that I'd want to put my pins on the outside. I do wish there were more sleeves or compartments on the interior, or even up here with elastic. That would be kind of cool for a quick grab of your pen. My big complaint about bags for artists is that they're not really designed for urban sketching, sketching on the go, sketching while you're hiking, sketching while you're moving. That's one of the reasons I bought the Slate, is it's a little more designed to set up and prop against your body. I'm going to be bringing that too, and I'm going to be comparing these two against each other and possibly against my Timbuktu bag. This is not any different really from a purse of a similar makeup. So if you're watching this and you have like a TJ Maxx or Marshalls and you want a bag, for a nylon bag like this for travel, you could still pick up a mini backpack, and that's probably going to be in general a better fit. And you can buy your own marker sleeve independently. So I definitely feel like, in fact, this is actually nicer nylon here along the edges, and that makes sense. It's an exterior heavy use product, and I do like these are cross stitched, so they'll be a little bit stronger, but the nylon on the interior is much cheaper, including the braiding, which is a nice finishing touch, but it's not really very nice. And what can I say? I'm kind of juggling between, like, it's an $89 bag. I don't feel like it's an $89 bag, but I realize when you buy things on Kickstarter, you're paying a premium. And I'm also acknowledging that this is an artist-made product and an artist project, and it's also at a smaller manufacturing point than most of who I would be comparing it to. So I'm trying to be fair while also being honest. So I'm going to reread some of the copy from the Kickstarter for you guys, just to kind of give you guys an idea of why I was expecting more. He also goes out of, like, there's a lot of promotion for the XL, which does seem like the bigger and better product that can carry more things. It has more pockets, and it can actually hold water bottles. He didn't have nearly as much information for the Lite, so I had assumed, and wrongfully so, that the Lite was just a half-size version of the XL. So I'm trying to kind of juggle my expectations being disappointed with, like, the reality of what was being promised. So I'm trying to be as fair as I can be here. So meet the Carry-all Studio. I am obsessed with working and creating, and I take my work with me everywhere, which is why I've developed my Carry-all series of bags for creators. Now you can carry your work and creativity with you everywhere without compromising on comfort, convenience, or style. Both bags, the Carry-all Studio and the Carry-all Lite, were designed to fit as much of your creative tools as possible: text, sketchbooks, markers, drinks, chargers, and more. He also says both bags come with 3 carry styles: shoulder strap, so messenger style, backpack, and a carry handle. You can also carry it like a purse. He's got a lot of pictures of the interior of the Carry-all, but not much of the Carry-all Lite. It is my mistake that I assumed this would be as well thought out as the larger version, because I assumed, why would you offer a mini version that isn't as fully or doesn't have a lot of features? Now, let's be fair to Jazza. I paid $89 for this. The Carry-all Studio, just the bigger bag that refers to the XL. The Carry-all Studio is $179, so it is about double the price of this, but it is also a 16 by 14 inch bag, which finding large artist bags like that is admittedly challenging. When I had a 17-inch laptop, I had a heck of a time finding a carrying bag for it, and I ended up buying something through Jerry's Artorama that I used to death, because even Jerry's has been offering these kind of carrying bags for a really, really, really long time, and even those Jerry's bags, which are much cheaper than this, have more pockets than this. Here we are at Jerry's Artorama. This, I have had the Creative O bag. I don't have it anymore. It did fall apart, but I had it through undergrad. I think actually I got it my last year of high school. I had it through undergrad and I had it through some of grad school. And this is a larger messenger style bag. They do have some of the smaller ones too. I'm going to take a look at this one because this is what I got when I was in high school. So they're still making these. It is a similar nylon bag. It doesn't have any internal structure, and that's something that I didn't like about it, is I needed that internal structure to hold my art supplies. It's kind of just a thin plastic lined canvas bag. It has one top shoulder strap. This thing is super uncomfortable when it is full. It will really dig into your shoulders. But as you guys can see, a big, large interior pocket for your portfolio, a almost as big underneath the flap pocket, zipper, another big, actually bigger pocket, small pocket, and then this holds your brushes, and then this is like a smaller pocket, and then there are side pockets to hold your water, and this is $60, and this has been on the market forever. I had this in high school, and I am old now, and it holds 20 by 25 by 3 inches. Now, my problem is I'm a small woman. This was big, this was heavy, but one of my really good friends also had one of these and used it well into their convention years. So this is kind of what I'm comparing this bag to. I thought he would be looking at bags like this and trying to address holes that this bag has left. And I will give him that his carry-all bag has more internal structure. So it's not just a soft-sided bag like both of these are. I think I might have had one of these at one point as well, but I distinctly remember the other one. Here we are at Etchr. I recently bought one of their smaller bags. This is the one that attaches to a tripod. Let me see if I can, there we go. Okay, so they also have an art satchel. Now, to be fair, his is fairly cheaper by a good amount than theirs. However, Etchr is an Australian brand, so I'm going to assume he's familiar with it. I have the Slate Mini. I misspoke. This you're supposed to be able to strap across your body and leverage it against your body so you can paint while you're standing. I like that idea. The Slate Satchel is a little bit smaller, so I was thinking, and these are much more expensive. I will give him this than what he was offering, but these do kind of have a unique feature where you can kind of, as you can see from the demo here, you can prop it against your body, and it has enough structural support. There's a plastic plate in there that you can actually like plain air draw as you go. It also has a base plate that you can screw into a tripod, and it also has like plastic coated canvas. So they're pretty sturdy bags. What I didn't like about this is what I didn't like about my Mini is that it's not as modular as I thought, and they don't sell the accessories to kind of customize it a bit more as open stock as one might like. You can buy the accessory kit, but it's also fairly expensive. So that's what I didn't love about it. And then they also have the field case, which you can strap onto your art satchel, your Slate satchel, your Mini. and it's like a little bag of holding. And I was kind of hoping that, given that Jazza is an artist, I was kind of hoping we would see more of this kind of configuration with all of the straps, so that you could fit a variety of art supplies in there and really fit a lot of art supplies in there. And to be fair to him, this mini bag is about the same price. It's a little cheaper. It's like $10 cheaper USD. It's about the same price as his Carry-all Lite, but I think it was designed with more intention, and it has more elastic straps, and you can kind of transmute it more into what you're looking for. And he did kind of promise like a modular construction that we could adjust to fit our needs, and that's really not what he delivered with the Lite. I've been lying to you guys all this time. This is not a Timbuktu bag, it's a Tumi bag, and I did get it on sale. Joseph watches slick deals like a hawk, so we got a really good price for it. So this is the Etchr Slate Mini. And then this is the Jazza Carry-all Lite. So we're going to start over here and work our way over. And I didn't want to bring all three on my trip, but I am going to bring all three on my trip because none of them really suit a need all on their own. So the Tumi bag is made of a canvas. It's pretty heavy duty canvas. It has a large front pocket that has a bunch of neat little pockets on the inside, and I have used this bag a lot, so there's some wear and tear on it. There is a front zipper pouch pocket, has an ID number. If somebody steals it, you can also clip your keys in here. Then there is and I hate to show you guys this because it is the secret pocket, and it has like a secret little magnetic clip. There is also a luggage tag here. Then on the inside, there are two smaller pockets, and then one larger zipper pocket, and then the body pocket, and then there is a back pocket. There is only one way one way that I've figured out to attach this thing. It has one strap. There is no padding on the strap, so it can dig into your shoulder. And this bag does get heavy because I will load it down and then regret my life choices. If I put a 9x12 sketchbook in here, I cannot zip the top. And it does come with two top zipper zips. It is not waterproof. It's somewhat water resistant. I've taken it out in the rain, but I wouldn't take it out like rafting. And I make myself sound like I'm real outdoorsy when I'm not really that outdoorsy. So I got this on sale. I don't know if they even still sell this. You can probably find very similar at a sporting goods store or a sporting goods website. It was not designed for artists and for art, but I feel like it works really well as a smaller artist bag. My only complaint is we can't adjust the strap to be more comfortable, and there's no padding on the strap. So this bag will sling and knock things over if you're carrying it purse style or even messenger bag style, and that makes it a little bit unwieldy. I do wish it had kind of a backpack option. Also, while it has some structure to it, it doesn't have any rigidity, so you can't really use it as like, I'm gonna set up my painting surface on this, okay? It carries stuff, and it's great if you have like a table you can set up at, but it's not designed to be an artist bag in that regard. I've just used it that way. It also doesn't have any side pockets for an exterior water bottle, so that is also something to kind of keep in mind. Sorry. This is the Etchr Slate Mini. This is the back plate with the tripod mount I was telling you guys about. There is a zipper. This is just so you can remove or replace this. It is pretty sturdy plastic. It does provide some support. We also have the 4-point mounting system. We only have one strap. They do sell more straps. This is removable and this is padded, so I could poach this and put it on my Tumi bag if I wanted to. It has a somewhat padded carry handle here. On the front, we have a plastic, so it's a waterproof zipper. And the lining is actually pretty nice. Mine has gotten sun faded, and I don't know how because it has never gone outside really, but I do use natural light bulbs in my studio, so maybe that's how. This is kind of like an envelope style larger pocket with no interior pockets on that. So it's just one big pocket, and that's basically that. You unzip it. This zipper is a full body or almost full body zipper. And here's kind of my other problem with this thing is it opens this way. So we have our pin loops, and these are kind of neat and they're kind of frustrating at the same time. They are Velcro. We have these loops, which are theoretically for a tablet. I've tried putting a tablet in there and it's too tight for the tablet that I have. So it won't work for my tablet. And I've also tried putting sketchbooks in there and same kind of problem. And then another removable strip of loops. Then over on this side, let me see if I can find the zipper. We have, I think this is an almost all the way around zipper with like a nylon mesh pocket. You can unzip, you can access this, and you have these, which are also Velcro, and you can like space them out to hold your sketchbook. But this honestly requires too much geometry and triangulation for me to really think about. Now, what I don't love is I wanted more accessories with this thing. I wanted more inserts. I wanted more. And I didn't want to buy the pack and get stuff that I don't really like. I guess I could just put pins or markers in this. I wanted to be able to buy more of like these or just a different variety of inserts. And at the time I bought this, that wasn't really an option. They weren't being, I bought this at my local brick and mortar, and you can also turn it inside out, clip this, and use it like easel style, which is cool, or presentation style. But my local store doesn't sell the accessory packs, and I think the accessory packs are pretty much only available from Etchr, and they're kind of expensive, and you're kind of stuck with what you can't just, to my knowledge, they may have changed this, you can't just buy certain things and add them on. Now in the tech field, I forget what they call it, tech facing market really, they sell these like organizers that have crisscross elastic. I'll put in a picture. I have a couple of those. I really like those. I was hoping Etchr would either partner with them to offer that as an insert option, or that they would come up with their own, because that's a system I really like, and that was a system I used pretty often when I was in grad school. This thing is pretty rigid. It won't really hold my 9x12 sketchbook. It won't hold my larger Shizen watercolor sketchbook. It won't hold chunkier sketchbooks. It's just kind of hard-sided. It's got a lot of support, but it is what it is. So this isn't really meant to carry things. It's really more meant to serve as like a plein air in the field studio, probably watercolorist facing, although there's nowhere to carry water and nowhere to kind of prop water on this thing. I think the larger version might address that, but these are really pretty price prohibitive, and I'm a small woman and I don't want to carry these huge things. So then we have Jazza's. Actually, I want to grab the price for this one for you guys real quick. All right, so this is $145. They do sell additional component sets, and additional shoulder straps. I like how I'm not, and now they sell the tool straps kind of open stock. So they do have more options for this, but it's still not as modular, and they didn't add as much to the series for this as I would have liked to have seen. I thought they were going to be continually adding new accessories, and it doesn't seem like that's the case, and that's kind of disappointing. Then we have Jazza's case, which is 89 bucks. And it just feels cheaper. It has fewer pockets. It is kind of padded, but you can see why I was saying this looks really cheap. Copic makes the marker inserts, I believe, and those are much nicer quality. The pockets aren't big enough to hold a water bottle. Like what I think I was thinking was I'll get the Jazzas and wear it as a backpack and carry the Slate on my front, and that way I can carry my water and some of my necessities like my wallet and my keys and chapstick, things like that, and then use the Slate to hold like my sketchbook and my watercolor palette and my brushes. And just, well, you know, sometimes we think something is going to go a certain way and then it doesn't go a certain way. So you guys can probably see why I am a little disillusioned with these art bags. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe I'm expecting miracles. Maybe I am expecting solutions solutions to problems, and it's just an unreasonable expectation. Maybe I should be buying a larger size, but I have a smaller frame and I already have a lot of back problems, so that's not really great either. Couple thoughts about this Jazza bag. All right. So the external hardware seems nice. Metal zippers, the magnetic closures, but it barely holds anything. That's all stuff I could have gotten into my Tumi bag with no effort. Even a 9x12 sketchbook won't fit in this, so I severely, well, that's unfair. I am skeptical that a larger tablet will fit in here, which begs the question, who and what is this for? I am still going to bring it with me. I'm a stubborn person like that, but it really doesn't hold that much without getting deformed. Now, I do like the backpack style straps. I mean, I haven't tried them out yet, but I like in fact, I think I put these on upside down. I like the idea of backpack style straps because that's something with my other art bags that I really wish I could securely carry it on my back instead of having to sling it across my body where it's bumping into everything. Maybe it does go this way because I would want the straps to be where, yeah, I think it does go this way. But other than, you know, backpack style straps, it's a purse, y'all. It's basically a purse. And it's kind of a cute purse, but it's basically a purse. And if I make some of y'all unhappy with me saying that, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I carry purses every day, carry purses all the time. Brought a purse with me this evening. I am aware of how much bigger purses can hold. I think purses are great. I think that anybody who wishes to carry a purse should be able to do so. And I think there need to be purse options available that are not so femme and are, you know, maybe more laid back or more discreet or come in different colors. So, you know, when I say that this is a purse and it matches my purse, hold on, I'll go grab my purse. Here is my purse. Literally, it matches my purse, and I did not do that on purpose. Purse. But when I say that this is a purse, it's not an insult, but it is to point out, like, this bag, other than it being backpack style, which is nice because this is not backpack style, and it does sling and hit everything I'm carrying, isn't doing anything that every other artist bag is already doing. I wish every other artist bag converted into a backpack because that would be a lot easier to lug around if you're hiking without it slamming into your hip all the time. But it's basically a purse. Maybe the larger XL is not a purse, but it's basically a purse, and it has less features than pretty much any purse I've bought in the past 10 years has had. And it costs about, this is a full leather purse that I got at TJ Maxx. It was about $89. It's a Patricia Nash, and it's got the embossed leather. I paid the same amount for these. And while I realized that this was a Kickstarter, an artist designed this, yada, 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 to me, if you're going to Kickstarter a product like that, it should be innovative enough that there's a reason to bring it to Kickstarter. And there are already purses very similar to this on the market. Okay, so I have been using this thing for like 3 weeks now. And I call it a thing because this is a purse, y'all. Like, my brother-in-law called it a purse. Everybody thinks it's a purse. There is nothing wrong with purses. As someone who has carried purses for decades, there is nothing wrong with purses, but this is kind of a purse. There's a lot of stuff like this already on the market. Like I said, it's a purse. Backpack purses were a thing in the 90s. They are making a weird comeback. You don't have to do it like a backpack, but I feel like the backpack is probably the orientation that makes it the most unique and the least purse-like, and it's still basically a purse. Again, nothing wrong with that, but you don't need to buy Jazza's purse to have a purse to hold your art supplies. You don't need to buy Jazza's bag to have a bag to hold your art supplies. You don't need to pay $80 for what is essentially canvas, really cheap nylon on the inside, one really cheap marker holder, and a little bit of pleather. And I'm not trying to be super mean about this. I gave it a 2-week shot. It functions well as a purse. It holds my art supplies okay. It didn't have as many pockets as I wanted it to have. It didn't have as many compartments as would have been helpful for an artist to help organize an artist's things. It wasn't really big enough. It wasn't big enough to hold my 9x12 sketchbook. For example, the side pockets are not big enough to hold anything really. So I guess I feel like if it had been like a little bit bigger, I would like it better, but then it would have been the same as my Kenken bag, and like I really didn't need another bag. Now, I bought this because you guys asked me to. Some of my patrons were curious about it and they wanted to see what it was like. So I don't have like a problem with having bought it, but I don't necessarily think you need to buy it unless you specifically want to support Jazza. There are a bunch of artist bags and purses on the market that are going to do what this does and do a better job of it for less. especially if you shop at places like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, if you check the Blick clearance section. Just if you're a savvy shopper, you should be able to find a comparable bag that will have similar features that you will probably like better, that will be better built, because the interior quality, the hardware is really nice, but the interior nylon is really cheap, and there's only one interior pocket on this thing when there really should have been just more compartments. In general, artists have a million things. We need a million compartments. Even a secret zipper pocket up here would have been really, really helpful. You know, it just didn't really feel like he came out with an innovative product that solved a problem that was on the market, and it didn't really feel like he necessarily did a lot of market research before releasing something like this. I found it challenging to get on and off my back. I found that this doesn't stay shut and it wants to get caught up on my arm. I find that if you don't zip this, it's gonna spill everywhere. I just didn't find it all that helpful, and it didn't really solve the problem. So there's not really a whole lot more I can say about that. I took it on vacation, and then I just kind of carried it around with me every day for at least a week. I'm still like half living in this, half living in my regular purse, and still carrying a full-size backpack around. So, you know, that's all I have to say about that. So since this is part of the Easily Influenced series, I do actually want to take a look at Jazza's online presence, which is quite substantial.
Now, when it comes to art YouTubers, I think it's pretty easy to argue that Jazza is one of the OGs, one of the originals. And he is probably the person that if you are new to art and you're trying to self-educate and you're interested in drawing, you're probably going to get pointed to Jazza time and time again. That said, I'm not like super familiar with him because I just, you know, like the timing didn't quite line up. I was already done with art grad school by the time I'd heard of him. So while I'm sure there's stuff he covers that would be super beneficial for me, I just never really explored it. Surprisingly, he's actually a little bit younger than I am. He is 35 and he has had quite a bit of success, so good for him. As you guys can see from Wikipedia, he has got a lot of stuff going on, and he has been on YouTube like the beginning, 2005. And as you guys can see, he is also like a powerhouse of a YouTuber for art YouTube, right? Like generally art YouTube just doesn't do the numbers that like some types of gaming YouTube will do, that some types of product YouTube will do, that some types of fashion, even booktube, that kind of stuff. Art YouTube just never quite does the same. So it is really cool to see that he has such an impact and such a presence. In fact, when I was putting together a video of things that I'd purchased for a younger artist, I got a lot of comments suggesting that I should have bought Jazza stuff for this young person in my life. His real name is Josiah Allen Brooks, and he goes by the name Jazza. And he got started very early with getting sponsorships from websites and animations. And he was over on this is so weird for me because we were teenagers at the same time. And he was actually doing the things that perhaps me and my friends were enjoying and laughing at. So that's pretty cool. It definitely is making me feel like a little bit old. So my intention is not necessarily just to read all of Wikipedia to you guys, because that's kind of boring. I just kind of wanted to go over because he has been around forever. Something I do think is interesting is like he describes his style as cartoon-like, and that would definitely be true. And our styles they are very divergent. We both do cartoony art, and we have very, very, very different styles. And it also says that he's tried to extend to comic books, which is actually what I do. But again, very, very different styles. I have a very femme style to my artwork. And he claims that his biggest or the Wikipedia, I should say, claims that his biggest influence was Christopher Hart. And he's even been involved in like short films. So he's been very, very busy. Like he has done a lot of stuff. And that's very cool. So he does actually have some games. He has an online course on Skillshare. He has another online course on Skillshare. He has a digital coloring book, which is what I think a lot of you guys were suggesting. And he also has, these are
So one of the things, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but one of the things about Jazza is that backpack was basically the only like physical thing I could get. I don't want to buy digital courses. I'm not looking to buy digital brushes for the Easily Influenced series. So like if he had like a how to draw book in print, I would have bought that too, because it's easier for me to just kind of talk about these things with you guys than like digital things. Those are a little bit more challenging for me. I don't know why. This just is. Sometimes my computer doesn't want to capture things properly, that sort of thing, or it's hard not to just reveal everything. One of the things that I noticed for years about Jazza and his thumbnailing is I find that a lot of his titles are very extreme, very clickable, right? Like you really want to watch them, you really want to click them. I find that personally kind of off-putting. I do think having memorable thumbnails, having memorable titles is a really great way to get people engaged. Clearly, it is working for him, but it's just something I've never really liked. And he's also, he's the one who claimed that Olo was going to be the Copic killer. So for those of you who are like wondering where I got that from, it's because I'd seen one of his thumbnails and it made me really curious. So it is super easy to influence me to buy things, and then sometimes I am not so happy about them. He also has a vlog channel with 422,000 subscribers, whereas his regular channel has 6.5 million subscribers. And it's, you know, very neatly organized. Although there are, you know, some of his most popular videos are some of his oldest videos. If you guys watch The Easily Influenced, you guys know I'm always interested in what other people are doing, how active they are, how they share art, that sort of thing. So, also like clicking around, and like I mostly know if I didn't actually know he had done Newgrounds stuff, even though we were kind of contemporaries at that time. So he has his YouTube store set up. He's big enough actually where it will link from his store. Not all of us can do that. You know, some of us would like to be able to do that, but not all of us can do that. He does have like some physical merch, but I was looking more like for books and that sort of thing. And he's got these digital classes, and I'll just be honest with you guys, I'm not great about doing digital classes. I have a bunch of the Aaron Blaze animal classes that I've just never done. That's why the books are more beneficial for me. So, you know, these are out there. If you like his stuff, if you want to learn from him, these are an available option. So it's been a while since I've looked at, I thought that was the ArtStation logo, but is it? I can't tell. I guess not. Anyway, this seems like his normal storefront. This is what I've been like kind of going back to see if I could find anything that would be a good fit for us to talk about on the channel. Something else that I want to point out is for those of y'all who are like recommending I buy his stuff for like a 10, 11-year-old artist, I would still say most of this is probably going to be either too in-depth or maybe a little out of that age range to really be a good fit. So I know for a lot of people, Jazza is kind of in our mind as being a creator who makes content for like younger artists, because he's really popular, I've noticed, with like teens and kids, younger teens and kids. But I don't necessarily think that is how he considers himself, or that's where he wants to be in the market. And I'm definitely not blaming him for that, just pointing that out, that like there are people who intentionally and with intention make content for younger readers, make books for younger readers, make tutorials for newer artists, that sort of thing. But people do tend to assume that if you have a cartoony style, then you are just making art for children, and that's not the case by a long shot. So here's his Facebook page at 512K followers. I mean, I feel like he is probably the largest on the Easily Influenced we've taken a look at. This is way back from 2023 with this Customize It kit. I'm not super sure. This looks neat. This looks like it would have been fun, but I feel like it's a lot of maybe tracing his art onto different objects or teaching you how. That's a neat idea. I kind of like this. This I feel like is more all ages. Maybe this is why people were thinking that his stuff is a great fit for such a young artist, is because this would be so fun for a young artist, or anybody really, anybody who likes to decorate this kind of stuff. But this is what, 2023 is a while back, right? And I realized me reviewing the bag has taken a really, really long time. I've been having a lot of stuff come up. One of the things that I love about this is that you guys have challenged me to take a look at and to think about an artist whose work is just generally not my personal preference, right? And I love getting into other artists' heads. So I think it's really cool to see what's working for him and what he's doing and what he likes. And we also come from different backgrounds, right? Because I'm a trained comic artist and he's an animator. And while there's a lot in common, there's a good amount different. And even down to the materials that we use and our preferences, this can be a big difference. So he has 396,000 followers here on Instagram. And I'm curious when this was posted, 3 weeks ago. Okay, so actually he doesn't seem to be hyper social media, hyper online, like a lot of social media sites are pushing artists to be, and a lot of artists are pushing artists to be, and a lot of art coaches are pushing artists to be. And I think that's awesome, honestly. Take the time you need, because he does a lot of projects. He does a lot of stuff. He seems really busy. And the only way you can produce a lot is to not be hyper online. The only way to make these ginormous projects is to not be terminally online. And that's a balancing act that I'm often failing with. And I have outside responsibilities, whether it's family or pets or my day job or, so it can be hard to balance. So I do actually appreciate that it doesn't seem like he's really pushing the be perpetually online. It's also kind of neat how his Instagram is kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. There's a lot of photos of him. There's a lot of photos of other things he's working on. There's a lot of just different things. I think this is very unique for the Easily Influenced, because normally when we're looking at people, we see a lot of just landscapes, just florals, just one thing, maybe a lot of pictures of their kids, which we are also seeing a lot of that here. But as the parent, that is his choice. I do think kids, especially young kids, deserve to have privacy and agency in how much they are shown and used online. But this is his family, and he's sharing his family, and it doesn't, just looking at it, feel particularly they're, you guys know what I mean, with family vlogging channels. It's not giving me that vibe. So, we're not going to talk about that. I think he might be the first artist I've seen who has a fandom page. He also has a Patreon page. He has a bunch of subscribers. It doesn't actually say how much he makes per month. That is an option you can turn on and off. So, that's kind of neat. I mean, I gotta say, whoever does his titles, he knows how to, they put me off. I'm not into that, but I can definitely see, I'm more a truth and advertising person. I grew up reading Consumer Reports and Zillion, so I like things to be really, really just straightforward. So I don't like clickbaity titles all that much, and I try not to use them to my own detriment. But anyway, his thumbnail game and his titling game is clearly on point for the audience who enjoys his work. He has 3 tiers. Sketcher includes access to videos and extended cuts, early access, and discounts to merch and products. Crafter is those things, plus private monthly streams and behind the scenes updates and pictures of work in progress creations. And then Artisan is, so where is the difference? Because then there's VIP. I guess it's, oh wow, okay. So the only difference then with being an artisan is you get your name in the credit. I thought it might give you an extra project or something per month like artisan, but no, not necessarily. Anyway, oh, there's more. I like how Luminary. So you get your name in the credits, secrets revealed. So they have a private Discord, A/B testing, and you get a gift. You get an art print hand-signed by Jazza to be sent to you. Legend! $120 a month. So that also includes one-of-a-kind original. Okay, that actually makes sense. That was in one of his videos. And you might be shown a few you can pick from. Kind of neat. I'm always interested in seeing how other people handle these sort of things. So some of the things that I appreciate, yes, he does have master classes. Those seem to be very, very drawing heavy, which I love that. Love to see that. Here for that. It seems very straightforward in what he's promising versus what he can deliver. Love that. He is not leaning so heavily on his community to add value to what you're receiving. A lot of it is coming from him and what he knows and what he's tried and what he has access to in his art. And I love to see that as well. That's really kind of what I want to see from the artists who do influence us. So very cool. He's not constantly trying to sell these $900, $1,000, $200 classes. He's got a Patreon. He's got a couple of Skillshare classes, but it's not like really just much, if that makes sense to you guys. Also, like his everything we've looked at, he works on a lot of cool things. He's always doing neat things. And yes, the money that you make being a successful YouTuber opens those doors. You can afford to buy those things. You have access to those kind of relationships and partnerships. And that is not something that's accessible to most of us, just to be honest. But it's cool that he's using it to do cool things and to do things that other people might not be doing in art. And he's using it to share that with a wider community. Whether or not his stuff is your jam, he seems like he's doing cool things. And honestly, it's nice to see that because at least it's like a breath of fresh air, and it's nice to see somebody really just trying to do more. Now, a caveat I will point out is a lot of the people we've looked at in the Easily Influenced series, where we've looked at their socials, have been women, and they've been women with children, and most of them admit they are the primary caregiver of their children. And I don't know Jazza, and I don't know his life, and it does look like he spends time with his kids, so I'm not making that assumption, but I am going to point out, as someone who is an outside of the house caregiver to my adult family, I know for a fact it eats up a tremendous amount of time and energy. So while I think it is phenomenal, legitimately, that Jazza and his team are able to do so many really cool things, I also want to remind us that a lot of the people that we've looked at before, other than like maybe having an editor on their book, maybe having a publisher on their book, maybe their husband or their best friend helps them, they're a team of one person, and they're also responsible for doing the housework and taking care of their children for the most part. Not everyone is the same, but for the most part, these people are primary child caregivers, and often they have young children, and some of them have several young children. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that that does eat up a lot of time and energy. So I don't want to unfairly be like, look at all the cool stuff Jazza does. Why aren't these other people doing as much cool stuff? Because they have different priorities. And I think it's cool that he is using his platform to do neat, exciting, cool things that appeal to a nerd demographic. However, I also want to point out that being a parent who is a primary caregiver while your spouse works outside of the house, that is important and valid work too. So I have had the Jazza smaller art bag, art satchel for about a year. I think I received mine in January of 2024. It is now December of 2024. I used it for almost a year. I was really trying to make this work for me. It's great as a purse. Not the best purse I've ever owned. I own so much nicer purses that, not designer, but just like nicer made, nicer build quality that cost me less money than this. It's great as a purse. But as an art bag, even for someone who's carrying around smaller art things, it's not really my most useful bag. In fact, just a tote bag does a pretty good job. With a tote bag, I can fit my sketchbook, I could fit a tablet, I can fit my laptop, I can fit a notebook. I can carry around a lot of stuff in just a plain tote bag. You don't need to spend all the money that Jazza is charging for this particular bag. However, if you don't want a tote bag, if you want something that's more like a backpack, something with a little bit more function, there are still a lot of bags and satchels on the market. This is a Tumi bag that I got several years ago. It has more pockets. It's actually bigger. It has better build quality. I think it's meant to hold like an iPad tablet, or I think that's part of the design. Lots of pockets, lots of padding, lots of hidden pockets, which I love. It's just a better bag. Now, I found this on Nordstrom on sale a couple of years ago. So if you are looking for, let's say, a not femme bag, you just want like kind of a generic unisex bag for your art supplies, honestly, even checking TJ Maxx and Marshalls in the purse section, they will often put computer bags, laptop bags over there. I got a really nice, I can't find it right now, but Victorinox side satchel, like computer tablet bag that I brought with me the first time I went to Japan. Super handy. You can also look for Japanese scissor bags or hairstylist bags. Those come in a variety of sizes. I had one of those the second time. I had a Lite Lab scissor bag the second time, and I loved that thing. It was so useful. It was smaller than the Jazza bag, but they come in various sizes. So you can also look at like Japanese stationery bags. You can also just get like a children's or a small backpack. This is I'm never gonna pronounce this correctly, Fallen Robin Kanken bag, and this is pretty light. They're expensive for what they are. I would even say overpriced in the US for what they are, but it's a sturdy bag. I've had it for several years. It has traveled across the country with me. It is waterproof, but it is not padded, except for the very back of it is padded. There is a removable insert in there. It doesn't have a lot of pockets, but this is the bag that I usually bring with me when I need my laptop to teach classes at different libraries, because it's got a sturdy but not too big pocket, and I can fit everything I need. When I was doing conventions across the country, I had this bag of holding, this huge JanSport bag that could hold a million things. It is kind of falling apart, and I haven't found a replacement that holds as much as that does, so I'm not going to show it. But basically, my point, and maybe I'm a year out of date, maybe I tried to be really fair in this review. That's why I gave it so much time. I carried this thing around with me so much. I really wanted to be fair and not just not like it. It's fine. It's fine. I already spent the money. It served its purpose, but there are way better bags out there, and you just need to do your looking. So that is my year-long review of Jazza's art satchel, art bag sort of thing. I think I repeated myself multiple times when I said there is nothing new under this old sun, and this is not even an innovative product. I did buy the smaller, less expensive of the two bags because I just don't need. I have tried the really big art satchels. I've had several of them over the years, and I find that they're just not as comfortable for me as a backpack. They cause a lot of digging into my shoulder. I had scoliosis as a teenager, and it just kind of exacerbates those sort of problems. A backpack is really just a better fit for me, and that wasn't really what he was offering. What I would have liked to have seen is, he is an artist. He knows what artists need. An insert for markers that is a really cheaply made insert, and Copic makes better inserts than that. Literally everybody makes better inserts than that. Any art supply company, Japanese stationery companies, all make better inserts than what he was offering. That's not enough to make this an artist bag or a bag that's useful to artists. I was hoping to see more intention, more design, more pockets, more specialization to allow you to actually use this bag as your organization, rather than having to put in your pencil case and having to bring in your purse and your additional, organization, because there just isn't really enough in this particular bag. There wasn't enough interior pockets. The side pockets are not big enough to hold anything, not even a bottle of water. It's just a really underwhelming product. And I say that as a bag connoisseur, a woman who loves bags and has a bunch of purses and has tried all sorts of different things. But you don't have to take my word for it. I encourage you to go to Goodwill, to go to any thrift or secondhand store, look in the luggage section, look in the bags section, maybe even just ask at the front desk if they have anything and kind of describe it. Go to Jerry's Artorama, go to Blick and look at their bags. Go to TJ Maxx, go to Marshalls and look at their bags. Just do a little bit of footwork, and I promise you, you will find something better than this. If you have friends who just like bags, who are artists, ask them what they have that they're not currently using that you can use, because I have 1,000 bags and I would be happy to loan them to my art friends or do a little tradesies and see if I can find something that's better for me while not generating more landfill and helping a friend find a bag that works for them. So ask around, but there are better alternatives than this. Now, this video was recommended by someone who hangs out in my Discord server. They watch Jazza's stuff, they watch my stuff, so I know there is at least an audience overlap of 1, but I don't really figure this video is going to hit the audience that is buying the Jazza bags in general. That's not even my intention, and as always, I request that you please don't send Jazza this video. We don't know each other. We don't have any kind of a relationship. This was a good faith review where I purchased this product out of pocket to see if it was a good fit for me. I kind of fell for the hype. A friend was interested in the bag, and I think they even ordered it themselves. So I didn't even stop them from buying the bag. This is a year out of date, so I don't think I am taking money out of his pocket with this review, but I would still appreciate that you keep in mind that reviews are for consumers, and the purposes of this review was to help maybe the parents, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles of that audience, if they'd asked for this bag, to maybe find an alternative that is actually going to be more beneficial, that's going to hold more of their things, and is going to last them longer, is going to have a better build quality. So that's who I'm kind of aiming this for. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope this was at least amusing, if not informative and helpful. Bye guys!